Okay, it's 9 o'clock, so we'll call the meeting to order. We'll have the roll call, the pledge of allegiance, Mr. Jones and Commissioner Senna, the invocation.
Chair Black?
Here.
Vice Chair Long? Here. Commissioner Jackson?
Here.
Commissioner Senna?
Here.
Commissioner Jones?
Here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, today we come to you in the name of Jesus, and we thank you for your word. Your word says in the Psalms, it says, some trust in chariots, some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God. Father, today we recognize that we need your help in our society. We need your help here in New Mexico and right here in Lea County. We ask for your wisdom and your guidance and your compassion as we go about the people's business. In Jesus' name, amen.
Okay, the first thing on the agenda is the consideration of Lea County Resolution number 18A-082R approving the April 19, 2018 regular meeting minutes. All of you had a chance to study the minutes. Do you have any corrections or additions? Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Next thing on the agenda is public comments. We allow 3 minutes if anybody in the public would like to get up and make a comment. Okay. Next thing is Commissioner and Manager comments. We'll start with Mr. Gallagher.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, good morning. I just want to commend and recognize one of our department heads, Kelly Ford. Her department is putting on a statewide court officer advanced classes at our facilities. These are classes that compliance officers in adult probation departments have to take. The good thing about this training that she's hosting is the number of different counties that are represented. We have counties from Cibola County to Taos County, McKinley County, Rio Arriba, Harding County. Several counties are here with their staff. They'll be staying the week here, attending these classes. We have help from the Lovington Fire Department, Hobbs Police Department, that are in the Lea County Sheriff's Department are involved in these classes. So I just want to recognize her and the people that are helping Kelly put this on. And I'm glad to see that we have folks from across the state here this week taking those classes. That's all I have.
Okay, I'd like to introduce a few people from the Eunice Hospital Board, Leah and Reeves. I know she's back there, I can't see her. That little post we've got there sitting there, so glad to have them. And also from the junior college, it's Dan Harden. Glad to have Dan.
Well, first of all, of course, Dan, so glad to see you today. I used to hate Duke University basketball before I met Dan Harden. We visited the gym together. They wouldn't let me in, but when they saw Dan, he has that nice smile, and man, they couldn't resist that. So, so grateful for you, Dan. Thank you for your service to the community. You have a great family, and of course, we're grateful for Mr. John Cox and his family. You're a tenacious bunch, huh? So we appreciate you for being here today. And I want to thank the folks at My Tower. Tuesday night, of course, we were at the Holtec event and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission event, but they had their graduation. This is extraordinary. You know, we do so many things so often that are challenging and so often, you know, where we have one opinion here and one opinion there. But what the amazing thing about My Power is that they're working to combat something that so many of us try to combat, and that's you know, teen pregnancy. And what they do is they work to empower young ladies, to help them improve their lives, to build self-esteem in their hearts, and to help them realize that they can work hard, that they can get a college education, they can get a great career, they can do something positive with their lives. And I'm so grateful for what they're doing, and I'm so grateful for this commission's willingness to continue to support that. And so, thank you.
I just want to say, praise God, we hadn't had any major fires.
Amen.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
No comments.
I don't have any comments. The next thing is consideration approval of Lea County Resolution number 18A-083R authorizing in-state travel June 19th through the 22nd, 2018 to Socorro, New Mexico for the New Mexico Association of Counties 82nd Annual Conference. Some of the commissioners will be attending this.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, that's correct. Some of the commissioners like to propose a few commissioners attend this annual conference. Mr. Chairman, as you know, Lea County is a member of the New Mexico Association of Counties, and this request would be for Commissioner Jackson, Long, Black, and Jones to attend this. The overall conference dates June 19th through 22nd. Commissioner Long, I think you'll be appointed the president at that time. You're the president-elect of the board now,
Correct.
She'll be elected, that sounds.
and then you'll actually be sworn in.
As president.
All right. So that's the conference in Socorro, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, and that's where they discuss or start vetting the legislative priorities of each of the counties for adoption at their fall board meeting, and then at the winter legislative conference that they have in January. So, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I would ask for approval of Resolution 18 083R.
Move to approve.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, well, the next is consideration approval of Lea County Resolution number 18, May 084R. And some say, well, why are we looking at this now? Why not earlier? Well, of course, Sheriff Wester had put in that he was retiring, and then we received an email that he was going to stay on until May. But, so that's why today. This is the reason for this. Tom Dumford has worked hard on the Sheriff's Department for the people of Lea County. He served faithfully under Sheriff Ackerman, and he served faithfully under Sheriff Wester. Tom Dunford's he has given us commitment and loyalty, even when it was challenging to do so. So why should we pass this today? Because if we do nothing, then we're possibly rewarding a good lawman with unemployment when the election finishes in June. That's very likely. But if we pass this resolution today, then we give Tom Dumford the opportunity to finish his job and carry and his career with the honor he certainly deserves. And so whatever happens today, I just want you to know we appreciate you, Mr. Dumford. It has not gone without notice. And so I move to approve resolution number 18, May 084R.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Let me say that this, I don't want anybody to look at this as a reflection on Mr. Dunford. We all appreciate the job he's done. He's done a super job, and we're proud of him. This would actually cost him a great deal of money. The sheriff's salary is set by state law, and it's lower than what the undersheriff makes. It would cost him money, and it would not be to his benefit. We don't feel. And there's also a strong possibility that since there's no Democratic candidate running, that whoever wins the Republican primary, the commission might want to go ahead and consider appointing them to the sheriff's position after the primary election. But we all appreciate Mr. Dunford and Sheriff Dunford and all that he has done. Next, we have our public hearings. Mr. Gallagher.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, good morning. This is the first of two public hearings that we are discussing today. This first one, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I'll have to read into the record. You're right, Mr. Chairman.
Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Go ahead.
So, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is a public hearing to consider amendment to the 2004 Industrial Revenue Bond Ordinance of Louisiana Energy Services, LES, regarding payment in lieu of taxes. This is an ordinance amending Lea County, New Mexico Ordinance number 58, as previously amended by Ordinance number 67 and Ordinance number 80, modifying the provisions for payments in lieu of taxes to be made by Louisiana Energy Services in connection with the county's Industrial Revenue Bond National Enrichment Facility Project, Series 2004, authorizing the execution and delivery of an amendment to the 2004 lease and purchase agreement as previously amended in connection with the modification to the payments in lieu of taxes, making certain findings and determinations, ratifying certain actions taken previously, and repealing all actions inconsistent with this ordinance. Wow. So, this item, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, let me give you a little bit of background on this project and what we are doing here today. So first off, as I mentioned, this is a public hearing. You may recall at the March 8th, 2018 Commission meeting, the County Commission had taken action and approved Lea County Resolution 18 March 064R, which authorized the publication of this ordinance. And so we already advertised and published this ordinance, and we're here today to look at it. Let's see. Let me go back a little bit, sorry. So a little history. In 2004, Lea County issued an industrial revenue bond, and that was an amount for $1.8 billion for the National Enrichment Facility, which we'll refer to as Urenco. That was adopted by ordinance number 58. In 2009, the IRB was expanded to $4 billion, which was approved by ordinance number 67. The ordinances that were approved in 2004 and 2009 approved an 80% abatement of property taxes for Urenco. The total mill levy, or the total tax rate for property taxes at that time in 2004 was 23.629 mils. In 2009, the mill levy it actually dropped. It decreased from 23.629 mils to 23.498 mils. So you can see here one of the items there is that the tax rate actually decreased during that time period. Today, the action that's before you today in this public hearing is for ordinance number 91. This will have Urenco continue to pay payments in lieu of taxes equal to 20% of the property tax based on the mill levy or tax rate in place now of 33.797 mils, with a levelized payment for years 2019 to 2035. They'll continue to they'll also make a payment that a regularly scheduled payment for 2018. These payments will equal $60,389,892. These payments will go to the Eunice School District, Eunice Hospital District, the Junior College, and Lea County. This is a fixed amount which offers certainty for the taxing entities on the amount of revenue each of the taxing entities will receive between now and 2035. This ordinance has the lifetime of this ordinance is in 2035. So between now and 2035, this ordinance would fix Urenco in at a levelized annual payment, and the entities would receive more than $60 million from those payments. We've had a number of different, this ordinance, or this proposal, has been in the works for quite some time, undergoing lots of discussion with the Junior College, Eunice Hospital District, and the Eunice School District. Any questions so far, Mr. Chairman, or Commissioners? If there's no questions, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I would like to, I have a comment from Superintendent Dwayne Haynes. He asked, he had a previous obligation and he was not here today, so he sent me an email and asked, and I'll give this to the Mr. Chairman and the recording clerk, he asked that I read this to the Commissioners. Is that okay, Mr. Chairman? Yeah. So, the email reads, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager Gallagher, I do apologize for not being able to attend the hearing. Please accept this email as support for the proposed LES ordinances to amend the 2004 and 2015 IRBs. During the past year, members from the New Mexico Junior College, Eunice Hospital District, Eunice Public School District have been invited to participate in meetings whereby a Urenco value protest was presented and the revenue impact of requested amendments to the 2014 and 2015 LES IRBs to each of the taxing entities were discussed. The process is complicated, that's true. However, we believe the amendments will provide the district with consistent payment in lieu of taxes from year to year through the duration of the bonds. The consistency of the PILT will allow the district to develop its budget without any interruption to the flow of funds. To the best of our knowledge, this action provides the most positive solution to the valuation challenge, and that is from Superintendent Haynes. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, that's all I have on this item. I think, Mr. Chairman, you want to ask for any public comment or any comment on this item?
Yes, we'll allow 3 minutes for any member of the public that would like to comment on this proposed ordinance.
And this would be ordinance number 91.
Mr. Miller. Come on, Mike.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, my name is Mike Miller. I'm here representing the...
Mr. Chair.
Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, I'm sorry. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, I do.
Go right ahead.
Okay, again, my name is Mike Miller. I'm here as a representative of the Board of Trustees of the Eunice Hospital District. At our last meeting, last week, a week ago Thursday, we discussed the issues surrounding this. As you know, our board chairman has been present at several of your meetings along with our clinic manager, Lea Reeves. And I will just say that the board voted unanimously for me to stand up and support both of these amendments to both of these ordinances, both in 2004, 2015, and for many of the reasons that you heard the superintendent say, the consistency of the payment I mean, we're not losing anything, and so with that, Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the Eunice Hospital District Board of Trustees, we fully support both of these amendments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Thank you. Anybody else wish to comment? No further comments.
So, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, there's no further comments on this item, and my recommendation is approval on this item. And again, I want to compliment the other entities as well as the Urenco, working with them through a very complicated process. And I would ask, I would stand for it, or get any additional questions and ask for your approval.
Would this call for a roll call vote?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I move to adopt ordinance 91.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Sinner?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Vice Chair Long? Yes. Chair Black?
Yes.
Very good. All right, so Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, thank you. That was the first public hearing. The second public hearing is...
Swear him in again.
Are you concerned to say that the record reflect that he's still under oath? So, he's still under oath.
All right, good. So, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is a public hearing to adopt Lea County Ordinance number 92. This is an ordinance amending Lea County, New Mexico Ordinance number 87, modifying the provisions for payments in lieu of taxes to be made by Louisiana Energy Services in connection with the county's industrial revenue bond National Enrichment Facility Project Series 2015, authorizing the execution and delivery of an amendment to the 2015 lease and purchase agreement in connection with the modifications to the payments in lieu of taxes, making certain findings and determinations, ratifying certain actions taken previously, and repealing all actions inconsistent with this ordinance. And that's a long sentence. So, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, a little bit of history. Again, we are here today after the Commission had previously taken action at your March 18th meeting. At the March 18th meeting, the Commission had approved Lea County Resolution 18 March 065R. That resolution authorized county staff to publish this ordinance, which we have done. Ordinance number 92 is what this is. This covers a time period from 2018 to 2047. Some of the items that I will discuss related to this proposed ordinance reflect or mirror some of what was discussed in the last discussion, though there are some differences. Ordinance number 92, it does amend 87. Ordinance number 87, which issued bonds for the construction in 2015 for the Urenco project. There are, though, some differences. You may recall that in the 2004 and in the 2009, Urenco was paid a what's called a payment in lieu of taxes equal to 20% of their otherwise tax bill, which would be an 80% tax abatement. What we did for 2015 was that there was a 0% property tax abatement for the junior college, the school district, and the hospital district. So the Uranco's payment in lieu of taxes for those entities is equal to 100% of the otherwise tax bill. The county did approve, as part of the 2015 IRB, Ordinance 87, an 80% abatement of the county's portion of the property tax. When this ordinance, or when the bonds were issued in 2015, there was a mill levy at the time, an overall mill levy rate or tax rate outside of the Eunice city limits for non-residential property of 26.944 mills. That was what the rate was in 2015. Today, the overall total mill levy rate is 33.797 mills. So there was an increase. With that said, the mill levy rate is scheduled to decrease by 2 mills for the school district in 2019. So that would bring us back in 2019, if all things remain constant, to 31.797 mills. Ordinance number 92 will have Uranco pay a levelized payment from 2018 to 2047. Actually, it'll be from 2019 moving forward. You can see that for 2017, this is the amount, that will be the otherwise tax bill for 2017 of $3.7 million. And then for 2018, $3.4 million. And then we have a levelized payment moving forward equal to 100% of the otherwise tax amount of $1.3 million per year. That gives us a total amount from 2018 to 2047 of $41,198,247. So the previous one was just over 60 million, and then this one is just over 41 million. A few of the items, and then that is for existing construction, for existing improvements that are at the site today. For any additional construction or improvements that take place post December 2018, that would be taxed at the rate of 31.797 mills, though there would be no tax abatement for the school district, the hospital district, the junior college, hospital district, school district, or the junior college, and then the county would continue the county's abatement portion. Are there any questions so far, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners? Again, I think this is a process that has taken us several months to work on. I think, like the last one, we have a good solution here that will permit each of the taxing entities to receive a payment that they can budget for year over year. That payment at the end of the term of this is the same dollar amount that the entities would otherwise receive for new construction that would take place. It would be after December 2018, it would be at 31.797 mills. That is lower than the current amount, but the current amount is scheduled to decrease by 2 mills in 2019. When this went into effect in 2015, the mill levy rate was 26.944 mills. Again, so we're not seeing any property tax abatement for the entities. Again, similar to the ordinance number 91, we have participation and representation and cooperation from the Eunice School District, Hospital District, and the Junior College. I also want to thank the County Assessor and the County Treasurer, Susan Marinovich and Charlotte Kennedy, for lending their expertise on this complicated matter, and Chip Lowe, our Finance Director. I'd like to stand for any questions that you may have, Mr. Chairman, for the Commissioners. If not, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I can read that comment again from the email, or I can just submit Superintendent Haynes' comment. And I think, Mr. Chairman, open up for any questions that folks may have, or comments.
One comment I might make is that under an IRB, technically Urenco owes no taxes because the county owns the property. But what they do, the payment in lieu of taxes is a payment equal to what they would actually pay in taxes. It's a technicality, but it's worth noting, I think. Once again, if we have any public comments? No public comments, we'll take, we have a motion.
I move to adopt ordinance 92.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, this calls for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Center?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Vice Chair Long? Yes. Chair Black?
Yes. Very good.
Commissioners and Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Reed. You're up.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. This is a consideration or approval for Lea County Resolution number 18-May-085R, approving recommendation from the Lea County Planning and Zoning Board to approve the preliminary plat for Liberal Land subdivision located in the south half of Section 34, Township 17 South, Range 38 East, near Hobbs, New Mexico. This is the procedure that we followed. It was submittal of the application and the plat. The plat was deemed complete in the review process. Agency opinions were asked for, a public hearing was held. Planning and Zoning Board had a consideration, and now we're at the consideration of the county commissioners. Timeline is that Mr. John Cox brought all this preliminary plat and supported documentation in December of 2017. The Lea County Planning Department looked it over, approved it, supporting documentations were all in good shape, and sent the letters to the appropriate state agencies. All interested parties were notified of a meeting in accordance with the Lea County subdivision regulations, section 4.3. Then a public hearing was held on April 10, 2018. The transcript is in the board packet. The approval of the preliminary plat was by a 4-0 vote. The Planning and Zoning Board had heard testimony and evidence to review the Liberal Land subdivision, and they approved the preliminary plat for Liberal Land subdivision. This is where the site is located. It's approximately a quarter of a mile north of Kansas and east of Grimes. This is what the site presently looks like. The red square is the site of the subdivision. The black line is for the improved road that's going to go through the subdivision. And this is what the plat looks like with the improved road in it. I missed that last one. It's 51 acre lot subdivision. It runs between about 2.71 acres per lot. During the public hearing, this is the information that was provided. The New Mexico State Engineer returned a negative opinion that proposed the Liberal Land subdivision could furnish water sufficient in quantity to fulfill the maximum annual water requirements of the subdivision, including water for indoor and outdoor use. Their statement was that they didn't believe that the subdivision could do that. The OAS Lea County model predicted that the saturated thickness of the aquifer would be insufficient in the area of the proposed subdivision in 40 years. And the Office of State Engineers Lea County model uses a water table decline rate of 4.5 to 4.7 acre feet per year. Atkins Engineering and Associates did the hydrology report for the developer of the subdivision, and they state that the projected water availability shows 89 years of life in the aquifer under the subdivision, or slightly more than double the 40-year planning period. Atkins Engineering's opinion also is that the state engineer uses the inflated data in their Lea County groundwater availability model, and that the United States Geological Survey well, which is just north of the subdivision, shows a decline rate of 0.92 acre feet a year on the average for the last 73 years. But over the last 10 years, it has a 2.4 acre feet a year for the past 10 years, as far as the decline rate. This is Mr. Atkins's qualifications and resume and stuff. He's the one that provided the hydrology report for the subdivision. The action, the Lea County Planning and Zoning Board recommended the approval of the preliminary plat on a 4-0 vote. And the Lea County Board of Commissioners shall now approve with conditions, or disapprove the preliminary plat for Little Land subdivision according to the subdivision regulations. And I think that's it. Please stand for questions. I guess I go back. Here we go.
I don't have any questions. Of course, I know the state issued their opinion, and we looked at it too, and that's something I think we're elected to do. And we have to look at all the facts. And I looked at what the Planning and Zoning Board did, and then looking at the facts and the expert testimony that was provided by Mr. John Cox and his team. And based on what I see in the provision, the legal provision provided for us in statute, I believe that we need to approve this. I think it's the right thing to do. So I would move to approve resolution number 18 May 05R. 085R, if I can read that right.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gallagher.
I just want to say my vote, Daniel. I'm not against you. You know, I've read the reports, done quite a bit of homework. Water's a big thing to me, and it just scares me. It really does. You know, being in a critical management area. Nothing against you, company or anything. Just want you to know that.
Thank you very much. We're gonna go to work. It's gonna be a good decision for Lea County.
Yes.
Good job.
Okay. Very good. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this item before you, the current item before you, is Lea County Resolution 18 May 086R. This approval of this resolution, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, would approve the county's proposed preliminary budget for fiscal year 18-19. Brief reminder of the steps that were taken to get where we are today. You can see that the timeline was approved for the budget development process in January. We had outside entities again in January, and you always can see the timeline there. And we presented the preliminary budget to the commissioners as discussion items. We've had department budget presentations and discussions. And I think we've had some very positive discussions on this. So today, May 3rd, present the preliminary budget for your action. As a reminder, the preliminary budget is due to the state by May 31st. And then we have until the end of July for the commission to take action and adopt the final budget. We're projecting that we will start the fiscal year with just under $63 million in the general fund, with all funds totaling just $83.7 million. We are more than maintaining our cash reserve. Cash reserve balance is 3/12 of our operating expenditures. You can see that our general fund operating expenditures are just under $31 million, just $30.6 million, which is $20 million less than our estimated general fund revenue. We will have transfers from the general fund totaling $73 million to pay for mostly capital items. You can see that we have capital projects such as the judicial complex, the courthouse remodel, about $36 million. Some of the transfers do pay for operational expenditures, such as in the road department or in a detention facility. Bless you. Let me see, what else is there? Are there any questions on this, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, so far? Okay, great. What else? So what may change between now, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, and our final budget would be our end-of-year cash that we'll have at the end of this year. So that would impact our beginning cash balance. Part of that is attributed to how we make payments for some of the capital projects that we have remained, that we will continue to pay for this fiscal year, such as the courthouse, the construction of the judicial complex. We had started this year, we started this budget development process with a total of 359 positions. We're looking at keeping the total staff level for next fiscal year at 359 positions. The commission had previously passed a resolution that would authorize up to a 3% merit increase for employees. So that's incorporated in this slide. And we are anticipating a 4% increase, up to a 4% increase in our health insurance premiums. And that's incorporated in the slide as well. Let's see here. So we are we're not adding any additional positions. We had talked about reclassifying positions and moving some positions, but we are keeping the same number of positions at 359. Capital outlay, I think a few items are worth noting. For our current fiscal year, we had budgeted $2.5 million for new roadway construction. You'll see that we're proposing to increase that to $4 million, $1.5 million increase there. We are maintaining, the county has our community centers. We're working right now on the Knowles Community Center and the Monument Community Center. Those will be finished soon. But then we're also keeping $500,000 for community recreation and improvements, and that would include making sure that our community centers are pleasant and enjoyable for the public. Some important items there. Under the capital outlay items, continuing, you have seen these items before. These are items we had discussed. One of the major items that we have here is going to be detention center upgrades and improvements. We are budgeting just under $4.5 million for that facility. That would not be for an expansion of the facility, but that we are looking at making some improvements to the facility, such as the roof and the HVAC and some plumbing items. Those items will come back before the commission, but that's an item that we do need to tackle. Are there any questions so far, Mr. Chairman or Commissioners? Great. Overall, you can see here our capital outlay budget for a number of different items in the county's operations. This is where we have the courthouse remodel at just over about $10,050,000 remodel the courthouse. That's something that we may have to revisit as we are working on the design of this facility. And we have MPSR working on that, but that might be something we may have to we might want to revisit that. We are expecting that for next fiscal year that we will have about $15 million remaining in construction and purchases for the project across the street, the judicial complex. We're anticipating grants of about $550,000, mostly for from DOT and in the airport. We have budgeted, you will see, and this is an item that Corey has presented. We've shown you some the preliminaries and some renderings of what the terminal reconstruction project could look like. This is at the Lea County Regional Airport. Right now we have budgeted $4 million to expand our facility. It's about 4,500, 4,800 square feet, and doing about doubling the size of that, more than doubling the size of that facility. Let's see what else. We will continue to make investments and improvements in the Lovington Airport. We have items budgeted there, as well as the JAL Airport and in the Lea County Fairgrounds. Today you'll hear an action item. I think this action item is probably overdue. It's not the Jim's fault or Jim Kemp's fault or anyone else's fault. It's just an item that we haven't looked at, but we've talked about in the past, and that is where he has an item to improve 2 different parking lots at the fairgrounds. We will look at bringing to the commissioners a plan to make some additional improvements to the fairgrounds, particularly the parking lot area, some RV area, making some improvements to the pavilion area, the seating area, and the arena area, and the sale barn. Those are some areas that need some improvements. So you can see there, this is what we had presented at the last meeting. Same thing with similar item with the event center, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. At the beginning of this year, I talked to the commissioners about starting having a committee made up of representatives from the county, New Mexico Junior College, the city of Hobbs, and trying to make some exterior and interior improvements to the event center that would help the event center be more in keeping with the New Mexico Junior College, such as the exterior, like the Western Heritage Museum, and the countywide core project. So I think we're looking at some pedestrian improvements and lighting and parking lot improvements to name a few. I think that's very much needed. Total capital projects, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, is just $69.8 million proposed for the next year. This is a quick summary, some changes from our current year to the next year. I've talked about some of these. One of the items that I think is worth mentioning is that we have a 25% increase in our services agreement with the local government entities. We had budgeted $1 million. This current fiscal year, this preliminary budget has that going from 1 to 1.25 with a 25% increase for each of the municipalities in Lea County. And we've also provided additional funding of $500,000 to do projects with the municipalities. So we have a $250,000 increase on the joint services agreement. I'm sorry, that's number 3. And then number 4 is the $500,000 increasing our ability to partner with local government entities by $500,000. This could be anything for roadway projects, parks, anything like that. You'll notice that some of the items here, some items that we have no control over. Senate Bill 268, the last meeting, we're showing that we're anticipating that the state's mandated contributions from the county will be about $1.4 million, almost $1.5 million more than what it is this fiscal year. We see a decrease in our economic development line item in the county by about $105,000. That's attributed to not having a federal lobbyist. We discontinued that. And you can see that we have funding of $1 million to work on additional improvements at our volunteer fire departments. Are there any questions? Okay. From the last time we discussed this item to now, there are 2 changes that are reflected in this proposed preliminary budget. The first one is increasing the certification pay for the assessor's office for the appraisal certifications by $31,000, and increasing our HVAC maintenance contract by $48,000. Those are the only 2 changes from the last discussion today. So there's no questions, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I would ask for your approval of Lea County Resolution 18May 068R. I want to say that again, Chip, his staff, and the department heads and the elected officials have been great to work with on the development of this budget.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve, and we definitely appreciate all the work and the hours, the long hours that goes into getting this together, to bring to us and then submit to the state.
You know, it's a budget that's easily understandable. So I said before, a child could look at this and figure out where the money's going.
Kind of what we are sometimes, Mr. Chairman. But I was speaking for Chip.
Second.
Mr. March,
Thank you.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you.
Mr. Colwell.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, as you know, we are a member of the Lea Energy Alliance. There are 3 other members, the City of Hobbs, Lea County, and the City of Carlsbad. We have received a request from the Lea Board that we continue to act as its fiscal agent and that we also become the repository for its records. The resolution before you adds 2 additional things, agenda and minutes. That has not yet been discussed with the Lea Board, but it would be. But staff is asking, recommending that you approve this resolution today.
To approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Mr. Needham.
Chairman, Commissioners, I have 2 items I'd like you to consider today. The first is 18 May 088R. This is approving a cooperative educational services contract with Constructors, Inc. to make parking improvements to the Lea County Regional Airport. This is an item that we've discussed several times. We have a dirt parking lot currently to the north side of the image displayed above. It was in use for different septic tank systems and improvements related to that. We've been able to move those to other locations throughout the last 18 months, and we're now ready to pave this and add on an additional 40 parking spaces. I did get 3 quotes/bids for this project, all through the CES budget. All 3 were local contractors, very tight bids. Between the 3, I think there was less than $4,000 separating the 3, but Constructors, Inc. was the low of the 3, and I ask for your approval on this item.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
The second item is 18 May 089R. This is also a cooperative educational services contract. This also would be with Constructors, Inc. This is for an installation of an OGFC, which is an open graded friction core seal coat. It's a little bit different than a chip seal. You'll see it more on highways and freeways than you will county roads. What I propose is that we install this on our portion of West County Road, the portion that we rebuilt and overlaid in 2010 from the railroad tracks on Grimes, coming back to the west and the south to our city limits there. This will, is a wear surface. It's also gives you some good abrasion in wet weather if we ever get that again, and would protect it. This is kind of the look of the OGFC going down. We were able to negotiate what I feel was a very competitive rate. Constructors is setting up right now to do this process after hours on for TxDOT in between Hobbs and Seminole. And so we'd like to take advantage of them being mowed and get ready for that project. And I ask for your approval. Actually, can I ask for a second part of the approval with this?
Yes.
So there's a portion between our city limits and Stripes, 62180, that the city would also like to continue our contract with this. They are going to ask Monday night for an agreement between Lea County and City of Hobbs to be able to do that portion. If approved, I would like to add that $75,000 to $80,000 onto our contract, with them reimbursing us directly dollar for dollar for the cost.
No problem. Okay, move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, Corey.
Thank you.
Lorenzo.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Angela's called an emergency, but she left our emergency manager to do this.
Lorenzo can
Imagine
handle
that.
it.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Mr. Chairman, before you, consideration of approval, Resolution 18 May 090R. It's the first amendment to the memorandum of agreement for the operation and maintenance of the P25 800 MHz radio system for the Lea County Communications Authority. Several months ago, we started an agreement. Well, we had a presentation from the Mexico Junior College
They wanted to come on board to use the system. Just to use the system, not for a LCCH dispatch. So what happened was, Mr. Gallagher, everybody agreed that we need to go to all the parties involved to make sure everybody's in agreement with this. What is going to happen is New Mexico Junior College will be on this agreement to use the system, and they will pay into the system like everybody else.
That's simple.
It's a decrease for us, 3%.
Move to approve resolution number 18 May 090R.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And our last action item is Mr. Kemp.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Today I bring before you resolution number 18 May 091R. This resolution is through the Cooperative Educational Services, CES contract with IPR Limited for parking lot improvements at the fairgrounds. This will incorporate the east parking lot, which is our main arena parking lot, and the front west parking lot. If any of you have been through there, there are some significant potholes and cracks in there. Using this slurry seal, it will provide us a smooth, even surface. And Assistant County Manager Corey and I have visited with that. He's impressed with this procedure, so I would ask your approval to go through with it.
We have yesterday morning checked out that little sample.
Yes.
There, you just went through this.
That's the new stuff, Corey?
Yes, sir.
How do you like it on
So,
Kansas and Alabama?
so we haven't put it on Kansas and Alabama. We put it on several roadways or in your district around the country club and Morningside Acres. And so far, it's only been down a month, but it's performing well. We did put it down in a similar use at the Hobbs Airport in September of last year, so it has a little bit more age to it, and it is performing well there.
Is that what Lovington just put down on
They're
lacquer?
using a combination of slurry seal and micro seal. I think they use micro seal, similar product. This will be slurry seal.
Are
But
we talking about where this little sample is on the east parking lot over there?
exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Yes,
Checked
sir.
it out yesterday.
Move to approve?
Second. And Mr. Kemp, the company is IPR. Are they from Carlsbad also?
They're from Albuquerque.
Okay.
Can't remember
We
the
have a motion and a
same.
second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, sir.
We've got about 3 minutes.
Yes, sir, I figured that.
Well, this works great.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, just a little add-on to the budget deal right quick. The very first part of July, we will sit down with the department heads and look at everything that needs to be rolled forward. It's money that's been budgeted this year but was not spent or was spent but not paid. So there'll be a few things that we'll fix on the final budget, but we think we're pretty much there. So just that. So, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I stand before you for the March 31st, 2018 Lea County Finance Report. If you look, we've had revenues year-to-date of $61,128,000. Right now, we are at a little over $21 million. If you include if you include what we received in April, we're about $21 million on oil and gas revenue, which we're already over our budget for this year. The money we received in April, which is not reflected here, was an all-time monthly record on oil and gas revenue of almost $3.3 million. So things are looking really good for us right now. You see total expenditures of $57 million on the designated fund. On the designated funds, that is the detention center and the courthouse, the new judicial complex. If we go on oil and gas production revenue, you see it jumped up to around 3, then back down, and then back up to 3.2. So that has to do with the changes in the TRD system, which they finally got it. Actually, I think that's going to be a benefit to us in the long run. We're going to get more real-time information. So after wrestling with them, the staff called asking me questions the other day that I couldn't answer after wrestling with TRD. we got it worked out, and I think it's gonna be really beneficial to us in the long run. But you can see it's up.
And the colors are good.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I went with was that the primary colors on it?
I'm so colorblind, but this helps.
Yeah. 1 minute. Okay, property tax revenue, we're hanging in there. We should get quite a bit more this month, going into May.
Record time.
I move that the commission convene in closed session to discuss limited personnel matters, namely evaluation of county manager, including any adjustment under section 3B compensation to the employment contract, threat litigation in which the county may become a party concerning land in Central Lea County, and the disposal of real property in Central Lea County is authorized by the NMSA 1978 10-15-1H 2, 7, and 8.
Second.
We have a motion second. Call for roll call vote.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Vice Chair Long? Yes. Chair Ball?
Yes.
Now y'all won't have to come back.
He's coming for you.
Well, I see him pretty regularly, but I hadn't really asked if he's back open.
Lea County is currently in closed executive session. I'm outside the commission chambers right now in a public area. They are in public view still. County Manager Gallagher is speaking with NRC staff, but we're unsure about what they're speaking about today. Hey, will you please let me know when the executive session's finished? All the commissioners are still in.
But they don't say district, they say program. So now I just was upstairs and Nora asked if I could use the forms as they said. I don't just want to see how to do it. Tuesday or Thursday and Friday, because they do pictures.
Looks like they may be giving introductions. Perhaps this part could have been best taken care of during the other business portion after the executive session.
So the one that I have for my court is 7 minutes ago.
I believe this may be public business occurring right now, being conducted outside of an open meeting. NRC presentation was not part of the agenda today. No disclosure was given. Looks like documents are being handed over.
So it needs to be worded like that. And so which judicial district is it? Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. Well, they're just being different. Did I do something?
Today is May 3rd. It's 10:27 a.m. right now, 2018.
Well, in other words, it needs to say, it needs to have all this information, it needs to have all this information like this, but up here, on every page
Howdy.
that has that, it's gonna be on the application, here on the.
I need to pay attention to all that.
Yes, no problem.
Well, the law says we can't help you guys, and that you're just on your own. But, what the deal is, it's saying that, if it's filled out wrong, then it becomes our fault. And so they want it to always be your fault.
Morning glory, I don't know what it is. I know it's your house. Our house is over. I know that's just like, you know, everybody's like, tell me, and I'm like, basically told me.
I want to read you a little thing that says what you should say.
Everything I mentioned over there, this is all different and stuff. I know the addresses. And post office is different too because back in the day, they had the little turnstiles and it was cool where you could kind of see through them, you know, the deals. Is it? Yeah. And I loved it. I remember going there and then, so back then there was, I don't know if it's the same meat market, I'm sure it's different now because everything's, you know, but I remember going to the meat market with my, and I'm trying to do one little. So I remember going there. She would give me people. I remember those snacks before me. I thought I was in heaven. And she get the chalk, I never chalk down. They always get chalk down and stuff like that. But people thought I was in heaven.
Everywhere I had one of them before.
I remember, I asked myself, because I talked about and kind of her garden, you know, like, whatever it is. I mean, we're talking everything about everything. Like peach trees, like apple trees, and we did last summer.
Like I say, I don't know what it's for. Well, I'm telling you, I've been fine.
And my, I'm gonna really have a lot of figure out how to see that. It's still two things that he's in the club, and trying to see forever, but we get on and we love each other. And we get the little glow sticks. Like, you know, my grandmother should.
And she said, well, what's on the line?
I heard
Well, I'm gonna say you probably can do this without this. This line is gonna stay the same. And on this line, you're gonna say, you're gonna write it out, and you're gonna say, county of Lee. And then this line, you're gonna write it out, and you're gonna say, this will be. Yeah. So now, this one's gonna stay the same.
I don't have to drive in this door.
And these two are gonna change places.
And sometimes I still
They want you to have a right. That's not in the
Oh, I'm gonna sit this down.
And if something goes wrong, they don't want to be resolved, because you didn't file correctly. And I
Now, the secret are secret.
Like this, that I don't even use it before. It's just a
Consent-based approach is what they call this. Okay.
This is your own.
Right.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
Step over here, please.
Yes, sir.
Back over here.
Yes, sir.
This way now.
It's the most unpleasant part about the court. process.
For the new one to be finished, the judicial code.
Yeah, and then they'll have a drive-in.
Huh?
They'll have a drive-in, right?
Once they finish that and then the court's out, then we'll start remodeling all of this.
They're at the manicure, so now
Cool.
they're automatically sending everything to us even before we get to pre-trial. So we're trying to figure it out now because I'm like, I don't want to do simple batteries and all.
Oh, no, it's
I don't want for environmental waste. I'm like,
Oh, no. That was one today, where it's like, oh no, I entered my appearance on that one. It was a dilapidated house, and then he had the one, was it a container and window tint? It's like, what the hell?
so we need to figure out what's going on because that wasn't their plan.
I can't imagine it would be, I mean, yes, he always made a jury demand, but nobody ever took it up on those. It's just that you could, so you did.
Maybe we take that.
It's just like, oh my Lord.
See you later.
Now, on the bench. Normally we put them down in the basement, but there was a big group today, so. Nick, do you want a water or anything?
I'll be good. Thank you so much.
If you need something, let me know.
Okay.
Let's try at least through the front, we can through the side.
Yeah, I think more than the alternate forms. Well, well, if you'd have done this under 3 years, I could have done it. Once there's a wheel and you go long.
Well, I'm still standing outside the room. I got the camera on the stand, just pointed at the door and pointed at them because there's a glass door. You can see inside the room. So I just got the film going. Pardon?
And you heard her say that if you call this number, David.
No, this is at the county courthouse in Lovington.
So maybe that's gonna be your magic thing, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Any other way you do it.
Yeah, I'll be leaving in a bit quick after this meeting. I need to, hold on. Thanks again.
They'll know what's going to bill. They're going to the clerk's office.
Okay, so I'm at the courthouse and they're moving prisoners, so I have to move out of the way. I had to move all my stuff. Okay, well I can talk right now, it's just I had to move my stuff. I'm gonna have to move it back in just a second.
We'll start off now. There's a possibility to go to, I was going to go possibility he could go to
Right.
Las Cruces.
Right.
And
Okay.
thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, sir.
tabling them, they don't remove them. Because apparently, unless you do the scratch test, it doesn't always show up as an allergy, so they don't give you the information for it. So you're gonna have to do.
I hope you feel better.
Good morning. Do I need to?
Left hand.
Es más en encontrar dónde vamos a decir qué es lo que nos
No, y otra cosa con la dificultad, mire, que ella habla este sueño a la muchacha, digo, ¿qué le parece? ¿Dónde estará él?
Yeah.
I can't imagine why they're talking to the NRC about threatened or pending litigation.
What's wrong with them?
Just saying.
They wanted the ads for the business ads, the economic development, they want to send us an invoice. And I don't know how long it's going to take them to send an invoice, so that's what those two big ones are. And then the Livingston leaders switched. They're, they have two different companies that does it for them. So there's one for them that I've gotten invoices since. But there's one I think in return to that say that invoice is for. Yes, I know it's going to go. I mean, do you think I'll call her, to ask her to send those? I guess all those big ones, the house ones, those ads, only Lynn's kind of all about it. I just told him to open up the since last year. And then Craig's doing his new ones for the graduation. So they'll have to do those. I know because I get because I keep my hold on to my phone and I keep thinking, and I'm thinking that that one for Livingston Leader, it's a cross between their really, I might be, I want to put that out, so I don't want to keep that on stuff like that. I can't think there's anything else in there. I just wondered how long too, people not because I think Christina told me one time to film it and comes out with a bunch of hers. Christina playgrounds. So she goes to take one back home. She didn't ask me. I think I remember the my one's supposed to call. I didn't trip out when I get in this kind of those have been out there since when I first did some of them. I'll send them there and see. I guess maybe with the ads it takes them longer to send them. And no one needed them.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm gonna be here till
Excuse me, I think you owe me lunch.
I know, but I had to help you in getting them where they needed to be, so.
This guy right here, he was really upset how bad my hair was when I got to him. You know what, it took him almost 3 hours to cut my hair the first time. This is the second time I've been here. But he really took the scissors and he cut off every day of this hair. I mean, he was so patient, very good. My hair is better now than it has been. I've been trying to get
Shall we see my balance?
And how much we pay? 800 and something.
Did you get what you wanted?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you
All
very
right, you're very welcome.
So all I gotta do is transfer the stuff, information, off of this one,
And you'll have that, you'll have to do that. No, I don't do it yet.
They are still in executive session, right? I'm not just saying. Okay, go.
Once you finish that, I'll need to see that.
Okay. You keep the minutes?
Kelly does.
Okay.
thank you.
Don't tell anybody after you.
Very much again. Bye-bye. About to transfer these. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll talk later. All right, bud. Bye.
Howdy.
You waiting?
I am. I'm waiting for the executive session to close up. Hello.
Didn't do it.
Got here and I didn't see you.
Well, I keep my fingers crossed.
Yeah.
A long one. I hope it's not a long one.
46 minutes
It's 46 minutes.
so far.
Better get back in there.
Plus, before I got here, an hour at least. Got the NRC in here today.
Wasn't informed of anything, just told to come on over.
It's there. Thanks for coming on over. They're gonna be in Carlsbad too today at 4. So they're gonna have to fly out from here. Zip on down there.
How are you?
All right, how about yourself?
I like to play.
Not many people are listening anyway, huh?
Okay. We might as well be fast. What's up?
Nada. What about you?
You know we got the NRC here.
Where?
They're all sitting over here.
What are they discussing, I wonder?
They're talking about a facility that Lea County, Eddy County, City of Hobbs, and City of Carlsbad have come together that they want to put halfway between here and Carlsbad.
Yeah.
It's going to be a waste facility, and if you've seen some of the Hobbs News Sun papers recently, they've done some articles on that. They're down here to scope out and take public comments. I'm not sure what they're talking about right now, because they're in a closed session.
So this is something that interests you?
It does. Very interested in it,
Why is that?
because I live here.
Good for you.
So they're gonna. It's my belief that certain people aren't being considered before we bring this facility in. It can be, if things aren't done right and safely and so meticulously, then the stuff they want to bring to this facility, which are the fuel rods from nuclear reactors, it can make a lot of people really sick.
Have you gonna question that?
I have, and then I'm just documenting, making sure that we have some video record of the events that took place this week, because it's been going on all week. Monday was in Artesia and in Roswell.
So you've been doing this?
Uh-huh.
You've been going everywhere?
Yeah, I've been documenting it and keeping an eye on it. Like today, this wasn't disclosed they were going to be talking today, but they did say they were having a closed session where they were going to talk about pending or threatened litigation concerning 1,000 acres that the Lea County owns in central Lea County. I don't know if they're discussing pending litigation or they're not, but
That's something that interests you. Do you have anybody else?
Yeah, there's several of us going to be in Carlsbad today, because after they're done here, there's a 4 o'clock meeting, 7 o'clock meeting in Carlsbad that technically begins at 6 with an open house, but there's going to be a public comment period where members of the public in Carlsbad are invited in a public town hall style format where you get one person come up and they get like 4 or 5 minutes to speak and say why they agree, disagree with the project, and then provide the NRC with input that they're going to put in what's called an environmental impact study. That's going to be the report that they base their decisions off of and present to the commission of the NRC. Right now they're picking up details about how they want to form this document. And you know how it goes. If they control the information, they can bend it all they want.
Well, that's kind of neat that you're into it.
Yeah. I enjoy it.
Hobbs?
Yes. I'm really from Knowles, so I'm north of Hobbs a little bit.
Have you got into any arguments?
No. There's some folks that are a lot more passionate about the different. Oh, it looks like they're almost done.
Yep. You're gonna go in there?
As soon as they open it up to me, the board has to make a motion to open up the meeting again, and then the public's allowed in so that I can be back in the room. They do this because there's a law called the Open Meetings Act that allows them to close the sessions under certain circumstances. Such as, they claim this is one of the circumstances. I'm not convinced it is, but you respect it.
Oh yeah. That's the only way you're able to voice your opinion and, just respect what they're... Oh man, I haven't ever been to a meeting.
I was here for the one where, remember when they bumped the starting pay and there was 8 of us that they didn't give the increase to?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I came to the next one. I saw that and I was marking.
Go ahead. We're not.
Excuse us.
We're here for the meeting, we're not. Got you guys trained though, that's good.
We're back in open session.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Sandy, you ready?
Hey Nick,
Hey.
would you like some cake?
Yes. I would.
Thank you so much. Hey, have a great day. It's not my.
We still have another closed session.
Yes, sir. Mike just told me it was open. I'll leave.
Okay.
What's up? Oh, we're gonna close out the session in a second.
Oh, he, okay.
Where did you do?
I'm staying.
We're good.
We're good.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll get going as soon as Kelly gets here.
Sandy, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Ms. Stout is
get more energy to record more.
Let the record reflect that the matters discussed in closed session were limited to those matters specified in the motion for closure.
Happy birthday, Kelly.
Thank you.
Kelly, happy birthday.
All right, very good. Thank you, sir.